to the mall. I go get that paper, I'll make a fucking watch. I be pulling up knots, that can buy me a yacht. Hold on, baby, please, go get on your knees. If you don't do it for me, then you do it for the cheese. Yeah, I got extra weed, yeah, running low like sleep. Yeah, if a nigga try to creep, I got extra heat. Got a bank account with a large amount. If a nigga wanna go, nigga, we can let it bounce. Take it outside, nigga, fuck falling back. Can the sprint up in the club, ballin' with a bigger stack.
I got money in the bank.
Yeah.
Shout out what you drink. I got money in the bank.
Yeah.
Shout out what you drink. I got money in the bank.
Yeah.
Shout out what you drink. I got money in the bank.
Yeah.
Shout out what you drink. I got money in the bank.
Yeah.
Shout out what you drink. I got money in the bank.
Yeah.
Shout out what you drink. I got money in the bank.
Yeah.
Shout out what you drink. I got money in the bank.
Yeah.
Shout out what you drink.
Two-step with me, let me show you how it go. The Marcelago, let me show you how it roll. I got a Bentley that I only drove one time. 50 bought it for me, showed it, but it's still mine. My Chevy clean and the paint look like lemon lime. You wanna shine, it ain't hard, just get on your grind. You keep a bankroll, wallet full of credit cards, cup full of crystal, box full of cigars. 30 South tatted on my back, I'm country. She said she like the way I talk, these hoes love me. The club going crazy, throwing out stacks. She on this outfit, tell the DJ bring it back. See, I'm 8-town stuffing in the 8-town hat, but I'm reppin' Tennessee like my homie Project Pat. It ain't about where you from, homeboy, it's where you at. Scrap it, beat me on the dice, yeah, it's cool, I'll be back cause I got
money in the bank.
Yeah.
Shout out what you drink.
I got money in the bank.
Yeah.
Shout out what you drink. I got money in the bank.
Yeah.
Shout out what you drink. I got money in the bank.
Yeah.
Shout out what you drink. I got money in the bank.
Yeah.
Shout out what you drink. I got money in the bank.
Yeah.
Shout out what you drink. I got
Money in the bank.
Yeah.
Shout out what you drink. I got money.
Money in the bank.
Shout out what you drink.
Hey, filthy, got me, Lil Jon, got me, I got a big ass squad, how you gon' stop me? Y'all niggas watch me rise to the top, my shit gon' sell, your shit gon' flop. Lil Jon.
Yeah, let everybody click your little buttons for yes, approve this approval recording or whatever. And then I'll say, hey everyone, welcome to your first Tuesday meetup for, God, we're technically November. I know it's still October. Technically November classes. So my name is John Curtis. I am your course director. I'm also your department chair. That might come in handy at some point, so keep that in your brain just in case. Welcome everybody to Advanced Mixing Techniques, or AMX, we call it for short, easier. Get started here in just a second, but Mikhail had a question that I'll talk about maybe a little bit more in week 4, but can you go ahead and ask that again, sir?
Oh, I was just wondering, like, will we still have access to all our classes and stuff, like, after we graduate, so we can, if we need to, can we go back and look at stuff to relearn stuff and stuff like that?
As far as I know, yes. Even though all of your stuff is archived and you get moved to like an alumni email address instead of a student email address, you can still see all of your past classes on FSO. So you should be able to access them, and I'm not sure how much of the material you can get to. I think all of it, unless something major has changed, which is possible. But yeah, all of your stuff should be there. It's also a way for you, one way, I'll talk more about this definitely in week 4. If you need to get in touch with me in the future, or Rick, or whoever, you can actually find us and message through there, just like you can this month. So yeah, as far as I know, yes. Anyway,
yeah, that's absolutely correct too. I'm still using a lot of work from my first term. I go back and check on some of the work. Or I even, just to be safe, Mikhail, you could make folders and drop and drag them on your soft hard drive or whatever to keep it.
Yeah, a lot of what I have in the curriculum this month, like the videos you can download, I've tried to make as much material that you can archive as possible. In fact, it's kind of like my first point here on my lovely cheat sheet. You probably noticed by now there's a ton of material in our in FSO. Don't panic. Like I said, it's all for you. I'm not going to test you on any of this stuff, but getting close to the end here, I want to make sure, because there's so much good information and an unbelievable amount of terrible information. Anytime I find the really good stuff, I want to be able to give it to you to take with you. So whether that's something you can bookmark, video you can download, links, whatever, that's fantastic. Now, I don't know how long like LinkedIn Learning and O'Reilly work for you after you graduate. It might be a question to ask. I think when you get into next month, into the career readiness module, they might have some info on that there. But yeah, lots of info. Again, don't panic, it's all for you. A lot of it is like past material from our sister course, Mixing Techniques. What was that, 14 months ago? So if you want to remember how to do something, hopefully it's in there somewhere. And the Bobby O videos by Bobby Osinski, amazing engineer, been in this industry forever. And it's one of those where, you know, he's got so much material. I can't finish his video series. I think he adds at least an hour or so every month and rotates videos through, so it never is completable, totally completable. But yeah, all that information is really cool, but it's 9 hours plus long. That's a lot, you know, even to binge watch. So just look through the chapters as something like, oh yeah, hey, I wanted to refresh myself on that, or that looks interesting, let me check that out. And you just watch chapter by chapter. Again, I'm not going to quiz or test you on anything. I want to see more what you can do, not information that you can remember and then just kind of spit back, because we've already done that. Let's do something better. Probably another thing that hopefully you figured out by now is I'm setting all of you free-ish. Setting you all on your own. So you've spent 20 whatever months of like, okay, go to this menu and the 5th item down, click that, the menu that pops up, do this. And then we're going to go try this and open this software program. Then we have to load these files in. Yeah, none of that. You should have a pretty good handle on how all that works. So I want to see what you can do with it. So yeah, I'm more concerned about projects. I want to know what you can do, what you can learn. And on top of that, are you what we call client ready? Because Derek is going to hit you on this really hard next month in your final portfolio. So just to make sure that you can do something, and when a client says, love this, hate this, gotta fix this, I do not like that, you can do it and return it to what they need, because it's a lot of what you're going to get out there in the real world. So it's going to be fun, and it's probably free. Probably that taste of freedom is really cool for a lot of you. But yeah, you got to keep time management in mind too, because I'll talk about what we're going to do over the month, and it's going to sound easy. It's a lot more complex than it sounds. All right, Hunter had a question. So quick little question in the 1.4 assignment. Doesn't say what program we are meant to use. That's because I don't care. I'm completely DAW agnostic. In fact, if you want to do this on hardware, if you have a big console and you probably need at least a 48 track machine or 2 locked 24 track machines, you can do it that way. I don't care. I really don't care what DAW you use. You can use Pro Tools, you can use Logic. If you want to do this in Ableton, that will work too. Just make sure you turn warping off for every single track, or you will be in Nightmare City. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. I really don't care. I want to hear the finished product. So whatever you prefer to use. So getting in touch with me. Talked about this a little bit with Mikhail's question, but obviously you can email me. That's all in my contact information. Same thing for Rick. You can message us on platforms, so on FSO. The best way to do it is Slack, and I'll talk more about Slack here in a second. Let me show you really quickly. If you haven't signed up yet. Hopefully all of you can see my screen. And yeah, Mitch, this is where I'm gonna put you on blast. So hang on.
Okay. No, it's cool.
So this is Slack, and you've probably seen something like it before if you've used Discord or, heaven forbid, Microsoft Teams. There's about a dozen other programs like this. It's kind of like a personal private chat app. And you're going to see this a lot in industries and in the community. We actually use it here at Full Sail. You can see my icon up here at the top. This is us, the little reel of tape, and I have another one here. That machine behind me, the Slack channels I have on there, I have about 20 because I use them every day. It's not just for Full Sail and all of you clients that I work with. I have small groups for doing things like chitty chat, engineering, production, whatnot. A couple friends that I keep in contact with. There are also companies that I do testing for, beta testing and work with. All of them are on there. And this is great because we can jump in at a particular time, talk about a project or anything going on. People can hop in and go, hey, having an issue with this. And people can check it out at just about any time, 24/7. And go, hey, I know what, I've encountered that. Here's how I fixed it. No, we should escalate this up to whatever. You're going to see this a lot because almost every company has some kind of system like this that they work with. This is our channel for the month. This is just for all of you. So all of you, me and Rick, we could see it. At the end of the month, I will actually archive this. So this becomes your channel forever. And I'll talk more about that as we get towards the end of the month. But yeah, nobody else can jump in here. We're not going to get bombarded by somebody trying to sell you whatever. I'm sure Slack will try to do that because they'll drop upgrade stuff in here. But yeah, this is all for you. And at any time you can contact me. You can see Taylor has already sent me a direct message saying, hey, got a question here. But you can also private message. So I can grab Mitch here, click his name, hit message, and I can message him directly. Oh, I didn't do that in all caps. Hopefully that's okay.
No, it's cool, man.
So now Mitch and I have a conversation. In fact, you can see him here in my sidebar. So at any time, Mitch can reply to this. And this is just as something like, hey, you don't want to put, you don't want to tell everybody in the group, but maybe you want me as your client to check out a mix. Hey, am I on the right track here? I got questions about this. That's fine. Sometimes I'll be like, hey, let's redirect this and put this back out, in our channel because other people might have the same question. Sometimes it's just like, yeah, here, I'll be happy to check it out. The other cool thing about Slack is you can drag and drop pretty much anything on here. Let me see if I can find an audio file because you can drag audio on here. Why don't we drag one of the files you're working on this week? Maybe you'll need it again, who knows? So let me go into audio files here for our project, and I'll just drag the kick inside the shell wave, and you see the little thingy spinning here, processing the file at the top, and when it's done I can upload this, and this is just a raw wave file. There you go. Now everybody has access to the WAV file. It'll generate a transcript too. I guess it's got AI that does this. Translating a kick drum, I'd really like to hear that.
What's good, y'all? One more class to go.
And you can see boom, 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 boom. But anyway, yeah, you could drop an audio file in here.
All right, let me, this is the track I'm about to be mixing. Take a listen. is. I gotta mix this whole track. Whew, where we gonna start off at?
We can put pictures in here. You can actually drop video in here. It's a
I just
really
responded back to you.
Well, I can see your little one here meaning yes. Look at that. Hey, that's some creative therapy. I love that. I'm saving that. Another
First,
thing too, right? I can download this.
let me rearrange all the tracks.
The Slack thing sounds really cool, actually, because I was trying to set up a Discord, and then the whole Discord thing happened with the hacks, and so this is really cool.
Yeah, Discords, we tried at Full Sail. In fact, I think there is still one somewhere. We tried to do it, and in AP, the more we used it, we kept reading about the hacks and going, nah. Slack is cool. You can actually set up, this is a free, I think you lose everything after 90 days, 45 days, something like that. It's enough for a month at a time for us to do whatever we need to do. But the cool thing is too, is like, you know,
your subgroups for the like instruments within your session. So if we look in here, what we need to do is, so we switch over, we're going to group them as such. So we give you the list over here within this particular session. So drums, bass, acoustic guitar, e-guitar. Keep in mind that with your final project, there are going to be different types of tracks within each session, right? So a lot of them are going to have percussion tracks, synth tracks, some instruments that maybe you're not familiar with, and what you have to do is decide how to group them. So sometimes you're going to have to create extra groups, maybe a percussion subgroup, maybe a synth subgroup, and just as I guess as a it's more of a warning than anything, right? It's just knowing that you're not going to encounter the same exact thing for each different session that you open up or that you create. But for this particular session, this is the list that we should be creating. So for the first audio subgroup, I'll show you that example. You would click on Kick In, which is the first drum track, and then you'd click on the last one right over here, right? And we'd make sure that they're highlighted, so Shift Option, and then click on the output, click on New Track.
Hold on.
We're going to the output. The last one right over here, right? And we'd make sure that they're highlighted, so Shift Option, and then click on the output, click on Shift Option, and then click on the output, click on New Track. We're going to uncheck Create Next to Current Track, make sure it's stereo, aux input, and we're going to call it drums. Let's see what we said in the list, drums sub. So drums sub, oops, drums sub, hit create. Notice that it's right there now, next door. Make sure that you solo safe it by holding Command and then clicking on the solo, and that allows that the audio pass through this particular aux when you solo one of the tracks being routed to the aux. So if you look at the top now, you'll notice that all of these drum tracks the output of them is being routed to the drum sub. Now the input to this aux track that we created is also the drum sub, right? So we used a stereo bus called the drum sub, and this is the output of these tracks, and they're going to the input of this track over here. And notice that all the other tracks are still going straight to the main output, right? So that's how you create your audio subgroups, and that's what you would have to do for your bass, your acoustic guitar, your e-guitar.
Okay. So let me see here. Let me solo this. Wait, no. God damn, there's a lot of electric guitars. Alright, so we're gonna do another subgroup for the bass. Let's see here. Click on that one, shift option, new track. We're gonna name this bass subgroup. Bam, so let's see here. What do you say?
That's what you would have to do for so that all the other tracks are still going to, and this is the output of these tracks, and they're going to the input of this track over here. And notice that all the other tracks are still going to straight to the main output, right? So that's how you create your audio subgroups, and that's what you would have to do for your bass.
Yeah,
It
but
is also the drum sub, right? We used a stereo bus called the drum sub, and this is the output of these tracks, and they're going to the input of this track over here. And notice that all the other tracks are still going to straight to the main output, right? So that's how you create your audio subgroups, and that's what you would have to do for your bass, your acoustic guitar, your e-guitar.
Damn, it's a lot of electric guitars. Guitar technically will not be rewritten. There are individual tracks. Okay. E-guitar. Sub. What do you say, Command S?
Group them as such. We give you the list over here within this particular session. So drums, bass, acoustic guitar, e-guitar. Keep in mind that with your final project, there are going to be different types of tracks within each session, right? So a lot of them are going to have percussion tracks, synth tracks, some instruments that maybe you're not familiar with. And what you have to do is decide how to group them. So sometimes you're going to have to create extra groups, maybe a percussion subgroup, maybe a synth subgroup. And just as, I guess as a, it's more of a warning than anything, right? It's just knowing that you're not going to encounter the same exact thing for each different session that you open up or that you create. But for this particular session, this is the list that we should be creating. So for the first audio subgroup, I'll show you that example. You click on Kick In, which is the first drum track, and then you'd click on the last one right over here, right? And we'd make sure that they're highlighted, so Shift Option, and then click on the output, click on New Track. We're going to uncheck Create Next to Current Track, make sure it's stereo, aux input, and we're going to call it drums. Let's see what we said in the list, drums sub. So drums sub. sub, hit create. Notice that it's right there now, next door. Make sure that you solo safe it by holding command and then clicking on the solo, and that allows that the audio pass through this particular aux when you solo one of the tracks being routed to the aux. So if you look at the top now, you'll notice that all of these drum tracks are being, the output of them is being routed to the drum sub. Created this called drum sub, and this is the output of these tracks. This track over here, and notice that all the other tracks are still going to straight to the main output, right? So that's how you create your audio subgroups, and that's what you have to do for bass.
All right, now I'm about to cover.
If we look over here, and I'm going to show you what it looks like further on down the line. So over here, you'd see that, let's go over to the mix window, and of course, you're going to see different colors and stuff, and I'll show you how to do that later on. But you'll notice here that you have your drum sub, right? You have your bass sub, because there's 2 bass tracks, your acoustic guitar subgroup, your e-guitar subgroup, and then notice that the lead box and the background vocal are coming straight to the main output.
It's always good to color code your tracks too, like your drums red, maybe your bass yellow, you know what I'm saying? So you know which ones you're mixing on. All right, let me see here. So then we're gonna go shift the bass. We'll leave that, let's see, yellow. And then let's go down here to the electric guitars. Let's see here, electric guitar. We'll make that purple. Let's see here, bam. And then we got, no, I didn't mean to do that. And let's go to the synth. What color we want to name it? Red. All right. And then the lead vocals, we can keep them the same color.
Right, so they don't have a subgroup because you only create subgroups for groups of tracks or multiple tracks. You don't need a subgroup for individual tracks. That would be sort of redundant to do that. The next thing you want to do is to create your mix groups. Now, the mix groups will be based off of the subgroups that you create, so don't get them confused. They both, by creating both the subgroups and the mix groups, you benefit from the group functionality that they give you, but they do 2 different things, and that's explained in the lessons and also in the PDF. I go into it a little bit. But you'll notice here that on the side I already have my mix groups created. So drums, bass, e-guitar, acoustic guitar, all audio tracks. Notice that again, I don't have one for the lead vocal or the background vocal. You only create mix groups for groups of tracks or multiple tracks, not for individual tracks. But to create a mix group, let's say you wanted to create another one, you would, again, drums, so kick in, highlight the first one, highlight the last one, and notice that I'm not including the aux track that I created for the subgroup. None of your mix groups should include the actual aux track for the subgroup, just the audio tracks. So I've highlighted them. You're going to do Command on your keyboard, Command G, comes up, and we have a list of what they should be named. Let's see if I say that. Oh no, I basically just tell you to name them according to what you have over here, right? So we would call this one drums, right? Drums. And we can give it a letter too. We could say, okay, let's call this, well, D is already being used because I already created it, right? So I would use D in that case. You want to make sure that you're following globals. And then in the globals tab, you want to make sure that your solos and your automation mode and your mute and your volume are checked. So those 4 should be selected. You hit OK on this. and your volume are solos, and your automation mode and your mute and your volume are checked. So those four should be selected. You hit OK on this, and obviously it's telling me that I already have it. And when you hit OK, I'm going to cancel that. It creates it right here over on the side. Now, to verify what's included in that mix group, you can click on the color for that mix group, and you'll see here that you have all the audio tracks. Now, again, make sure that you're not including the subgroup aux track. And let's say you do that by accident, what you can do is double click on the color of the mix group, and you can go in there and say, okay, I don't want this track in there. You can hit remove, and that would remove it from there. The other mix group that you want to create is the all audio tracks mix group. Now, this is a mix group that is just that. It basically contains all of the audio tracks, no aux tracks, no master fader, just the audio tracks. So if I click on this, you'll notice that, look what it's highlighting. It's highlighting all of the audio tracks within your session, including these individual tracks that you didn't include in a subgroup. And why we create this will make more sense later on down the line. Keep in mind that when a mixed group, so you notice that this default all mixed group up at the top is highlighted, it means that it's active. To deactivate it, you just click on it and it turns kind of like a lighter gray. This means that it's active. So all of these could be active or inactive, right? It just depends what you want to do. When it's active, the group functionality comes into play. So I can grab one, right, drums, and we can give it a letter too. We could say, okay, let's call this, well, D is already being used because I already created it, right? So I would use D in that case. You want to make sure that you're following globals. And then in the globals tab, you want to make sure that your solos and your automation mode
Can y'all see?
and your mute and your volume are checked. So those four should be selected. You hit OK on this. And obviously it's telling me that I already have it. And when you hit OK, I'm going to cancel that. It creates it right here over on the side. Now, to verify what's included in that mix group, you can click on the color for that mix group, and you'll see here that you have all the audio tracks. Now, again, make sure that you're not including the subgroup aux track. And let's say you do that by accident, what you can do is double click on the color of the mix group, and you can go in there and say, okay, I don't want this track in there. You can hit remove, and that would remove it from there. The other mix group that you want to create is the all audio tracks mix group. Now, this is a mix group that is just that. It basically contains all of the audio tracks, no aux tracks, no master fader, just the audio tracks. So if I click on this, you'll notice that, look what it's highlighting. It's highlighting all of the audio tracks within your session, including these individual tracks that you didn't include in a subgroup. And why we create this will make more sense later on down the line. Keep in mind that when a mixed group, so you notice that this default all mixed group up at the top is highlighted, it means that it's active. To deactivate it, you just click on it and it turns kind of like a lighter gray. This means that it's active. So all of these could be active or inactive, right? It just depends what you want to do. When it's active, the group functionality comes into play. So I can grab one drum fader, right, and move all of them together because the mix group is active. When it's off, I can move one by itself, right? So when I turn it back on, again, the relationship stays in place based on where you leave your faders. So if you want to move individual faders, make sure that you turn off your mix group. But if you want to do something as a group, then you activate it and you can solo things, you can mute things, and again, you can move your faders together.
And I'll talk about this at the end of the month. I mean, when everybody who signed up, there's this graduates channel. I just added last month to this earlier today. There are happy 420 people in this group. This is every single person that's ever signed up for Slack since we started it. So anybody who signs up here, I will add you to the graduates channel when you're done. It might be a way to keep in touch with each other in the future. I don't know, but it's also a definite way where you can keep in touch with me because you can PM me as well. So yeah, it's a cool thing to use. And again, it's probably the easiest way to get in touch with me because it's open all the time, and I see these little like numbers pop up. I've got 2 messages, on our Full Sail channel. You saw the little thing popped up when Mitch talked about something. It's a great way for me to be able to triage like info. Sometimes something will come up, an emergency, and if a student could pop in here, I can look at it and go, oh, okay, yeah, somebody's got a problem. Let me take care of this immediately. And sometimes it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you know what? Let me take care of these other things I'm working on, and I'll get back to them in a couple minutes. Sometimes it's just a question that can be answered really easily. But yeah, it does. It's a cool thing. And for 2 weeks this month, we're going to be doing our Tuesday meetups in this. So today, obviously, we're doing a Zoom. And I'll do another one in week 4 to send all of you out into your final courses. But in between weeks 2 and 3, I will be doing text right here. Again, it's something you're going to see in the real world, and it's kind of a cool way to practice your skills. Mitch, I know you said you prefer voice and kind of direct emotion. I get it. I totally understand it. And if it's just not your thing, that's fine.
No, I'm still gonna do what you need to. I'm used to it. I'm used to it.
I'm just saying the cool thing is like this is up 24/7. You can access this whenever you want. So
hit that like button, hit that share button.
Just okay, let me scroll.
What's good, YouTube? What's good with
I'm
y'all?
used to it.
And if something like you're like, hey, that's a good question, you can just add it on to the bottom and then wait for a reply, whether it's from me or Rick or whoever was you were posing the question to. Again, it's just, I think it's a really cool thing. You will see something like this, and they all kind of work the same. So I figured it's just a good idea to set this up. And even I think you've used something like this before. I know Lee Riley used this in Gap, and I'm sure it's been in a couple of
Yeah, even at work, we have now applications to log in and get paid and set up a profile and talk to everybody.
the modern world. Yep.
Yep.
It is like that. But again, like I said, being able to drop a mix in here or like, hey, I got a question about this. And I can send like stuff back like mix checks. If I do a mix check and then get a bunch of metering and take a picture of it, I can do a screenshot and drop it right back to you. It's like FSO, it's like the discussion board, but it's instantaneous. I mean, I do check the discussion boards, but it's about once a day. I go through just to see who's in there and I check if there's any questions I need to look at. Like here, all the time. I'm going to see it probably within 30 seconds of you putting it up. Sorry, let's chat. I got one chat window here. What is the Slack group called? If you, it's called AMX Hangout, I think. If you look at week 1, there is an episode assignment that says Tuesday meetups, and the link is in there. If you click, it will have you download Slack if you haven't already. And by the way, Slack works on everything.
Yeah.
You can use it on your phone, you can use it on a tablet, you can use it on your computer. It really does. And they all sync together. So when you have one, you can easily move from like one to another. There have been times when having to do this, I've had to do something else, and I've literally had my tablet walking around like answering questions while I've had to take care of something important here in the house. It's a cool thing. So anyway, like you said, or like I was saying, it's if you go to the Tuesday meetups, the link should be in there. Project, and then we're going to work on a mastering project. Each one of those is going to take 2 weeks. So for work, let me know. Give me an email or let me know on episode, and I think I have a direct link somewhere. I'll have to find it. Okay, any questions so far? You guys have pretty much been asking when it comes up.
I'm all good here.
Awesome. All right, so a month ahead. Here we get to the deceptively simple looking, but much more complex. So essentially 2 projects is what we're going to be working on. We're working on a mix project, and then we're going to work on a mastering project. Each one of those is gonna take 2 weeks, so four projects total. Lost my hand for a second. So this week you're working on your first mixing project. I've given you all of the tracks, pretty much like a client would. You get to load them into whatever you're gonna work with and take all those elements into a cohesive whole. I'll pull up Slow Tools, sorry, did I say that out loud? Pro Tools in a second, and kind of show you how I go through the process. Maybe there's something you could take away from it. Maybe it's exactly what you do, but we'll look at that here shortly. So you go through, make a cohesive mix, in other words, the best sounding 2-track stereo left and right mix of all those elements, and you send it to your client. That's me. I'm the client or the client's representative for the month. I'll take a listen to it, and then on Monday you will get a critique based on your project. So we go through and listen to them and go, okay, this worked, this doesn't, I need to fix this, got a problem here, this is awesome. So it's pretty much what a client would do. It's just kind of not in real time, but it sometimes happens. Sometimes they want to talk over it and go, yeah, can you fix this? Because they're halfway across the world and you're where you are. So you'll get a chance to fix all those and then turn that in for week 2. Going to put this in, always double check the directions because your client may not want just something fixed. They may need more things, and that's in those directions. So always check the directions and don't assume, I fixed it, it's done, we're good. Maybe not. Week 3, we're going to get into mastering. Now, I know all of you played with mastering a little bit in Portfolio 3 with Paul Harlan way back when. We have 2 weeks to do this. So it's kind of, what I want to do is I'd be amiss to not show you the process and let you play around with it. And mostly what I want to do is kind of dispel some myths. I mean, everybody thinks mastering is some magical thing that only certain people with golden ears are hearing. No, it's a learned skill like everything else. It just takes a lot of time. And I want you to kind of understand the process of how it works and how you might use it for yourself or a client or a company in the future. Because the truth of the matter is, most of you probably will never want to do anything like this, and you should leave it to a mastering engineer. That's the best advice I can give. But if you at least kind of understand the process of how it works, what's going on, and maybe some little bits and pieces here and there that you can do to make something sound a little bit better, it might help you out of a situation. So week 1, I'm going to hand you a finished mix. In other words, a stereo mix. So we're going to do traditional mastering. So mastering was always done on the mixed file for the longest time. And you get to listen to it and go, okay, how can I fix this? And again, you can use any DAW you want. You can use any plugins you want, any software you want to try to make it better. Then we will listen to it at the beginning of week 4 and give you a list of corrections that want to be made. And you get to make those over the course of week 4 and turn that in for the end of the month. Again, because it's just 4 projects and really only 2 in 2 parts. It sounds really simple. And everybody has a week to do all these things, but just getting a mix together in a week for most of you can be pretty difficult, especially if you're kind of going through, making changes, you listen to it, you come back, along with all the other stuff, research stuff. It's just, a lot of times you can try to turn a mix around in a few days. Sometimes it can happen. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. And the more time you spend working with it, the easier it gets. In some ways, it can still really be a pain and take longer than you expect. But yeah, you've all got a week to do everything. But again, just kind of follow through. Directions are pretty simple, and ask if you don't understand something. Your clients will always appreciate attention to detail if you don't quite understand what they want. It's a lot better than assuming, oh, they probably just want this. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. if you ask them, they'll be like, no, I need this. That was a mistake, or I don't know who put that in. That's not right. Now you're not making a mistake. You're doing it right.
What's good, y'all? Hit that like button, hit that share button.
Always check everything. Double check, triple check. Ask questions if you don't know.
Anybody on this live? Anybody know how to mix, master?
We've already got a LinkedIn for Dr. Trax. I have a LinkedIn. I haven't checked it in probably 6 years.
I was gonna ask you, but I just decided to throw mine up there real
May
quick.
as well. Why not? Yeah, what time is it? I don't
So I got
want
a question.
to
Go
get
ahead.
into too much of a sidebar here, but it's like,
Right. Right.
social media was awesome when it first came out. It was a really cool way to get information out there. Now that everybody's doing it and their dog and their uncle, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's become hard again to get that information to, out there. I don't know what the next step is. It's still a
Yeah.
useful tool, but the thing is like we've seen kind of what the extremes you kind of have to go through to get noticed, just as like an artist. And it's like, man,
Right.
Let me answer Hunter's question in the chat really quickly. So Hunter said, so Slack is basically professional Discord. Yeah, maybe. I mean, there are a lot of companies that use Discord too, so I'm not going to call it professional Discord. Discord certainly can be professional. It's kind of like a private little universe for specific things.
Shit, I got a
So
Charlie
think of
horse.
it maybe like social media for something specific. There are a lot of companies that use these just to answer
Ooh, I got a
consumer
Charlie horse.
questions about when you buy a toaster. You're like, oh, I got a problem with the toaster. Hit us on Slack. Hit here, or you go to their website. Maybe the chat actually goes through Slack.
Sorry, y'all.
It's
I had a Charlie horse.
social
That
media.
shit hurt.
Better way to put it. Mitch, your question.
Well, it wasn't really a question. That's why I didn't say nothing. I was just responding to your social media. My last instructor, Monique, told me I needed it. I never had Instagram, never had Facebook, never had TikToks or nothing like that. No
He said
social
never had
media.
Tic Tac.
Mo is
TikTok.
She's amazing, and if she
Yeah.
says you need it, maybe you
Yeah.
do.
Because I'm branding already, and she like, well, I'm looking for you. A couple people looking for you. Where you at? So she told me LinkedIn was one of the first things to do.
Yeah, LinkedIn's pretty good.
And that's what I did. LinkedIn was one of the first things when social media started getting big, I was totally against it, honestly. But now I'm kind of open.
Yeah, I mean, it's like any other tool, right? Use it for what works for you.
Right.
If you're going to build a house, you could build a house with a screwdriver. It would take you a really long
Yeah.
time. You could do it. A hammer might be more handy. You're probably going to need more than that, obviously. But use it for what it is. If it's something that can, for clients, for people who might be interested in what you do, it's a good front-facing way for them to see a big picture kind of thing. Like, oh, okay, here's what they do, and here's some sound examples, maybe video examples. Whatever they can understand really quickly. Yes, it totally makes sense. I think as time goes on, it's maybe not as important as it is maybe when you're starting off. Maybe that's just me.
I just think, like you said, I think it's how people use it. Because
Right.
if you're promoting your shirts and your hats, I don't want to see you talking about how good pizza is.
Well, yeah. I mean,
So that was one of my problems. I didn't know how to use
it's
it.
like Twitter back in the day where people like tweet what they had, but for breakfast every day, just because it was.
Yeah, I don't want to
different,
see
it was
that.
fun.
Yeah.
But it was a novelty for about 35 seconds, and you're like, okay, I don't care, you had over. Okay, congratulations, you had over. Anyway, yeah, but you're exactly right. And let's just leave it as use what works for you, and if it works for you, excellent. That's all that really.
I'm about to boost up.
It's kind of like what I'm saying here, as far as like whatever software you want to use to do your mixes or your masters.
So is that Ableton behind you?
Behind me? No.
Or is that a
that's-
screen?
that is Bitwig.
Oh, Bitwig?
ex Ableton programmers. I
Okay.
use Bitwig a lot for creative stuff.
No slow tubes.
Yeah, when I need to. I have a love-hate affair with Pro Tools.
I noticed that. That's the first time I ever heard somebody approach it like that and call it that.
Yeah, I mean, let's it's
And that's
probably-
like my little brother. Like I had it since 7, and that's the only thing I've been dealing with is Pro Tools 7. That's the only thing I've been dealing with until I was introduced to Logic.
Oh yeah, I remember Pro Tools when it was called Sound Tools.
I can't go back that far, but I remember I had it with the inbox. I needed the inbox to have it.
Yep.
That's when I was introduced to it.
That would have been like version 5 or 6. I remember that.
Yes.
I remember wanting Pro Tools for so long, but I
What you
grew up with
use, Steph?
Logic. I grew up with Logic because at the time I was a broke kid, so I kind of just did the thing where you move the DMG off the Mac in school. I just could never update it. So I'm gonna try to use like 2 programs. I don't know, maybe bounce back and forth.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. He'll tell you better. I like Logic. I like Logic.
I'm a Logic certified pro. I've been using Logic for 26 years, something like that.
Damn.
Before the 2000s. I
Wow.
started with version 4. So yeah,
Whoa, you showing your age.
I am. I'm very old. But yeah, I mean, I've been doing. I mean, I remember when MIDI came out.
Does anyone use Fruity Loops?
Yeah, FL Studio is
Yes.
still around.
Yeah, especially for producing. Yes.
They've all, honestly, and this is why I don't really care what you use, because they all kind of do the same thing anymore. They all, the minute somebody comes up with a feature, everybody else is like, yeah, we got it too. It doesn't take that long. And they all,
Right.
it really depends on what you prefer to work on. It's like I did Ableton for the longest time. A friend of mine got me, he was like, you've got to try Bitwig if you like Ableton.
Yeah.
And I had a love-hate affair with Ableton too. Ableton like did some cool stuff, but there was things about it that drove me bananas. This fixes completely.
To me, it's like where you want to get your coffee from.
Right.
You're going to Dunkin' Donuts, you're going to Starbucks, you're going to McDonald's.
But the thing is I like all kinds of coffee. So
Yeah, me too.
it's not like,
too.
you know, it's just Pro Tools or nothing.
Yeah.
Or Logic or nothing. You know, I use Reaper. That's what I will be grading all of your projects on. It's what I do a lot of my actual audio stuff in. And I have been for a very long time now. And I like it a lot.
And you could correct me if I'm wrong. I think if you send me files and send me slacks from Reaper or Pro Tools or Logic, I think as a mixing engineer, I should be kind of comfortable to just don't need Pro Tools. I mean, let me open up Reaper and see what I can do.
Yeah. Well, let's
I'm using Pro
try to get a
Tools.
little bit more into this. Let's actually move ahead. Hopefully everybody can see, I'll call it correctly, Pro Tools on my screen. And before I kind of talk about how I bring stuff in and some of the things that we've been talking about here, let me talk about this song, why I chose it, and why we're kind of going at this a little weird. I chose this song because, one, I actually really kind of like it. It's a perfect, in fact, I was talking with Rick about this morning, just how perfect a song it is. It's a pretty well written song, it's a well played song, but it has issues that, you know, could be corrected. It's also very independent. I'm an indie person. I've been doing indie work forever, since I started becoming an engineer way back in the Stone Ages of the 80s. And I've always kind of had, that's where my heart has been. And I always like working with kind of the up-and-comers and the ones who are just, you know, just got to do this. It's music, I got to do it. And it's got that feel to it. It's also probably really analogous to what you might be working with when you get out of here. At least if you're going with the music side. because yeah, bands like this still out there and still playing and still record and still, you know, pushing it every day. There's plenty of electronic stuff. There's still stuff that uses real instruments, which is another reason why I like it. I wanted kind of a dichotomy of different instrumentation. So we got, you know, there's a couple of synth parts in here, but it's a real drummer and a real bass player and, you know, two real guitarists and a vocalist. And, you know, the backing vocalists are the guitarists and they're not 100% perfect, which is kind of cool, but it's human. And I really like it. And I think the song itself has a certain charm to it that really kind of works. We'll get more electronic when we get into mastering because it makes a little bit more sense for everyone. But even though the song itself is pretty cool, the one problem is I'm again kind of throwing all of you to the wolves or whatever. It's part of the freedom thing. Normally when you would be doing a mix for someone, you would be meeting that someone. It could be on Zoom like this. A lot of times it's kind of in person. They meet you at a facility or a studio or their studio, wherever. And you would listen to things and you would talk with each other because you kind of want to get a feel for what the artist, the band is and what they're trying to achieve with a particular song or these set of songs or whatever. And listening to either a demo or set of demos, several different possible, you know, tracks to work on, or a rough mix or mixes that have already been done. It kind of gives you a better idea of how you're going to approach a mix. But we don't have that luxury here. So I'm going to try to explain to you kind of what you would get in that session. So hopefully it will help you along with what I'm going to show you here in Slow Tools. Get it again. To get an idea for how to approach your mix. So again, I think the song is like really kind of a perfect thing for all of you to work on. 34 tracks, I believe, lots and lots of guitars, and guitars are always a pain. So, but we'll talk about some clever workarounds here in a second, or at least maybe some strategies to help you. The band itself likes playing live. So I would say take your production chops and maybe, like last month with Ed, you were making super high sheen, polished gloss vocals, pop ready stuff. We're probably not going to be doing that here. In fact, Auto-Tune, Melodyne, whatever, they're not that kind of a band. There might be a couple of parts in here that need correction, and I mean correction, especially the backing vocals, but you want to keep it transparent. If there's audible auto-tune effect, the band's going to go, no, sorry, you can't do that. We don't want that. So even though this might be something to get them a record deal, I don't think it's what they're looking for. Although every band would want that, to have the ability to do more and better things with their music. This is probably more something, either one, to get them more gigs, because it doesn't have to be a live demo. It doesn't have to be recorded through like, a cassette player that somebody's holding up at a show to get an idea for a promoter or an agent, or a booking agent, to get the idea of what they sound like. They just want to hear the music. So even a really good quality studio recording gives them like a feel for, they would be perfect for this night in this club. Let's book them in. So it might be something for that. It also might be something for the fans, whether it's on their website, a code that's given away at shows, or even put onto physical product, CD, cassette, wire recorder, who knows what's in this week, to be sold, along with their merch. So let's think of it as something like that. So you're going to be keeping it human, but obviously they want the best mix of all the elements possible. Again, it's not perfect, but it is a nice, well-recorded tune. The band has played the song a lot live, so when they went into the studio session, and the recording session was really short, it was only about 4 hours, I believe. They're so well rehearsed, it just
What's
they
good,
could
y'all?
knock everything
Mixing.
out. But
One more class after this.
there's a little bit of like imperfection in there. Imperfection's still a good thing. Okay.
Does anyone still use a wire recorder to this day? Because I thought them died like 100 years ago.
They did. It's funny to me as an old man
What's good,
to
Juan?
see like all the stuff like as a kid that I never thought I'd see again, like tape,
Tedward,
cassettes.
what's good? He said it's
come
music
back to the-
time.
or even vinyl. Like, I'm so like, yeah, I just want to get rid of my vinyl collection. I'm so tired of carrying all this stuff around.
Trunks of vinyls.
Yeah, it's like, then just to see all of it come back, it's nostalgia. I understand it completely, but it is just kind of funny. So I always joke like, what's going to come back? 8-track tapes, wire recorders, the big Dynasats or whatever, the precursor of the cassette, open reel-to-reel decks. Who knows? So I find it amusing. So you'll probably hear little oddities like that whenever I talk. So just enjoy it. Go racing for Wikipedia. Like, what was he talking about? All right.
I was straight wondering if someone brought back the wire recorder, because I'm like, I don't know how much fidelity you're gonna get out of that, but
You'd be surprised. They're not terrible. I mean, for vocal, they're vocal. For voice, they're fine, which is really what they were designed for. The problem is they're really fragile. It's teeny tiny wire, and the mechanisms to run them can be really fidgety. I've actually seen one. I've worked with one a long time ago. I had to do a pull from a wire recorder and transfer it. And do you know how to splice a wire recorder together when it breaks? Because it will break. You have to tie a knot. Really?
Sorry, I just had to go down that road because one of my friends had one at one point, and we were trying to get this like British guy's voice off of it, and like the hair thin thing just snapped at one point. And I was like, oh, well, we're done.
And it'll still go over the magnet.
Good to know.
All right. Any other questions at this point?
Are you looking for anything particular that you know that needs to be fixed or time tuned or anything like that?
That will probably do it. Like I said, creeping up on me, that's on me,
Somebody scream! Somebody scream! Please! I've been here, the sun on the raven's roof.
Very similar, but if you listen, you can hear the differences. It's just the nature of audio. As I was saying, the red cup, by the way, is water, which looks like a coffee cup. The blue cup, which is not a coffee cup, is not coffee. All right, let's move on to Pro Tools here. Okay, now would be the time to take your bets on when it's going to crash. So here's how I approach a mix. It's just kind of the basics of how I get started. And I'm going to walk you into a way of working that I think will really help all of you out. But again, you can do this however you want. The tips I talk about, you may go like, yeah, I'm never going to use that. If there's one little piece and you're like, hey, that's cool, I'm going to try that. That's kind of why I'm talking about this. But again, every engineer works different. And the more you do work with things, you develop your own style. But all these tips I've learned from time and from other people as well. So first of all, obviously I would take all the files and just drag them. I just drag and drop them on top of my DAW. I haven't changed any of cursor here somewhere. Where'd it go? There it is. I haven't changed any of the track names. You can change them however you want. Because they're fairly descriptive already, I just left them as is. There are some engineers, that's the very first thing they do. You'll also notice I've color-coded everything. There is no standard for color coding. People will tell you this. You'll read about it, you'll see it in YouTube videos. It's absolute BS. There's no standard for this. It's been tried multiple times. And as an AES member, Audio Engineering Society, I've seen these come through where they're trying to come up with some kind of standard, and it never happens because it honestly, it's a tiny little thing, dude. It's not something we really need a standard for. Here's the way I approach color coding: is every group of instruments, like at the very